says the Parliamentary Services Board will meet a week and a half from today to deal with the visa fraud scandal. 3 sitting MPs and a former MP were cited by the UK High Commission for visa fraud. In a petition to the Speaker of Parliament, the UK High Commissioner recounted stories of an alleged visa fraud. Here are some extracts from that petition. The wife of the MP for Bia East, Richard Achampong, has not returned to Ghana after he used his diplomatic passport to help Esther Tiwa spend a stipulated 14 days in the UK on Christmas Eve 2015. Also, MP for Ntroso Joseph Benhazin Daha's UK visa was cancelled and a 10-year UK visa ban has been imposed on him after the identities of his wife and daughter were changed in their travel application. MP for Ahafua South West Johnson Kwekwedu used a diplomatic passport to aid the travel of his wife and daughter for a 10-day stay in the UK. The two have not returned since July 2016, leading to a ban on his travel to the UK. Explaining circumstances surrounding the issuing of diplomatic passports, the Foreign Minister also referred to Section 6 of the Passport and Travel Certificate Act 1967, which sets out persons who may qualify for the travel document. Away from that, let's talk about violence that has erupted as a result of the announcement of some nominees for the position of MMDCEs. Here's a wrap of what occurred in some parts of the country.
Is there? She is competent. I mean, he's competent enough to do the job. Okay, Mr. Busaza is there from Hometown, but he's competent enough to do the job. Mr. Barok Bunum, okay, the vice secretary is there. He's competent enough to do the job. There are so many things myself as I speak to you right now. I can equally do that job. Okay, yeah, nothing is done about it. This is not just the beginning. This is just the beginning. This is not the end. We bend down houses. We bend down paraphernalia. We bend down offices. And in fact, I must say that we issue a statement. Nana Akufo-Addo is going to have a share. Okay. Why are you demonstrating? Nana Akufo-Addo is going to have his share. But the president we are just announced the names yet. So why are you? But these names are just rumors. This is not a rumor because we are all evidence are pointing to the fact that this is authentic. It has come on Twitter. It has come on so many social media. Okay, you will agree with me. What is that? That the nomination is coming from the first gentleman of the Republic. Yes. Now, what we are seeing today, wouldn't that be an indictment and more or less a disrespectful something to His Excellency the President? His Excellency should know.
Well, the regional coordinator in charge of research, monitoring and evaluation at ONEP, Vincent Azuma, is asking the police administration to be professional in dealing with anyone causing violence in parts of the country because they disagree with the choice of MMDCEs for their areas. The comment comes after some MPP youth in 6 districts of Ghana staged riots to protest President Akufo-Addo's nominees to head their metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies. Supporters in Impoho, Tolon and Zebulon have expressed anger after the announcement of the list of nominees yesterday. Mr. Zuma told Beatrice Edu earlier the police must deal with the situation.
I think I totally agree with him because then all these agitations will stop because the people who will be agitating will be the people who will be electing these people. So once they themselves go and elect a DCE and the DCE doesn't work well to what they expect him or her to do, then during the next election, they can actually put that person out and bring in a new person. So I totally agree to the election of the DCEs, and I just think that this is one of the things that if then another government is able to do, it will become one of the best achievements for his government. And
but right now we are having the agitations. How do you think, as a security person with ONEP, how do you think we can manage the situation now?
I think the law enforcement agencies should actually do their work professionally. And we also call on the MPP leadership to actually go to all these districts and try to calm these guys down and take them away from the street. This is something that I thought they could have done even earlier. When they had news that these agitations could come, they could have sent leadership to those areas and actually consult these guys and try to take them off the street. Because if this is not done now or soon enough, it could lead to something. Maybe the police goes in and tries to stop the violence that we are seeing on the streets so far, and maybe if there's tear gas and other issues come in, someone could lose his or her life, and we should not wait for that to happen before we actually stop this.
Meanwhile, there have been suggestions for MMDCEs to be elected, and in an interview with Maxwell Agbagba, the Senior Programs Officer at the Center for Democratic Development, Nana Kwabena Abrampa Mensah said that is the only way to go.
The only solution to that is the election of the DC based on non-political lines. Excuse me. There are people in the country who do not want to be tagged as politicians or who don't want to belong to any political ideology. These people will offer themselves for the position. And we're going to get people with the knowledge, with the capacity, who can look at the resources of the districts and turn things around. And this will also curtail the accountability to the political heads and give accountability to the people at the district who nominated or elected their people to serve them. And therefore, this kind of we hold allegiance to them because you came through the ticket of a political party will die down. I sometimes listen to some of the comments that also come about, that when it happens that way, there's the potential that district chief executives who have a different ideology from the ruling government's ideology may sabotage its efforts. This thing doesn't come in at all. When you look into the development agenda of the country, development policies are prepared from bottom up, and they must be aligned to the National Development Plan prepared by the National Development Planning Commission. And therefore, there's a guideline for you to prepare. Now, there's a strict expenditure pattern that all expenditure from the district are approved online. So if you have approved development plan, that subsumes from the National Development Agenda. On what basis is somebody going to sabotage a ruling government? Because there's a plan prepared from the unit level, constituency level, to the district level, accepted by the Regional Coordinating Council. It goes to the National Development Planning Commission and become part of the national agenda. In your expenditure pattern, you are going to follow the same action plan, medium-term plan, from which you've prepared your action plan. Okay. So if there's this guideline and your approval pattern is based on specifics from the action plan, based on which is somebody going to sabotage a government, I believe it's something that we should give it a try. In order for us to reduce the pressure on district chief executives, and some of these introduced that comes up anytime release lists of district chief executives. The accountability will now not lie on the people to hinge his fortune to his district chief executive, but it will be on the people who elected the president, and therefore all the people in the district, and not one political party.
Well, interesting. So you are for the election of MMDCs. Now, I want to find out from you, how do we cure the likely partisanship that will be associated even when we decide to, elect MMDCs? Because we are in a country where everything is political, even from churches to football clubs and all of that. How do we cure that potential, partisanship that would creep into even the election of MMDC? Should we go that way?
The Constitution has already killed that thing. The only thing is about enforcement. That's why when you look into the CODIO post-election review communique, we are asking the Electoral Commission to establish a special branch for monitoring of political parties on all other actions of legality of elections. The Constitution says that any political party who intrudes or who support any candidate in local government elections, that political party has a sanction. And therefore, if we want to cure that, it is already provided for in the Constitution. And if the Electoral Commission enforces that, we have the law there to cure it. So if you're a political party and you support a candidate in local government elections, you are suspended. If you are a candidate and you use this or you mount your campaign on the platform of political parties, you are suspended. So the law is already there. It's up to us building the capacity or giving the needed resources to the Electoral Commission to be able to enforce the law.
Still on the subject, the Member of Parliament for Lejokuku, Dr. Okoboy, has reiterated that election of MMDCEs will help curb the contention surrounding selection of nominees. There's been several agitation in some parts of the country since the announcement of the list of chief executives Wednesday. This is not the first time such agitations have been recorded. Previous governments have endured same opposition, with many experts calling for the elections of MMDCs. Speaking on the AM show this morning, Dr. Okoboy, who is also the Deputy Minister of Fisheries, added his voice to calls to allow the electorate to select local representatives.
You have to respect the decisions of the leadership. If you have concerns, you have to channel it in a very civilized manner. Go to those who have the wherewithal to listen, as in who have the capacity. So I think that I remember meeting some of my constituents who were agitating for a particular person for MCA. And what I told them was that the small I've learned in politics that anytime you use open confrontation to protest about something you are looking for, you further push yourself down. It's like a vicious cycle. So as much as possible, don't spoil the waters with...
Don't muddy the waters.
Yes, don't trouble the waters with all this, open. Go approach those who can...
Well, you think some of these agitators were instigated?
Yeah. Oh, it happens.
Okay.
It happens. I mean, the ordinary man on the streets...
doesn't have a mind of his own.
No, can agitate. But on some occasions too, you have people with interest, motivating them. And they do those things, they openly agitate because they feel that when their person comes, their person will take better care of them. So it's a lot of things. Now, what I want to say, which is very, very significant, is that the reason why over the years we've had leaders who have wished strongly to allow their powers to go so that MCs are voted for. Because to choose MCs across the country, it is a lot of power which legitimately belongs to the president. It will take a president who is selfless, who is thinking more of his legacy than his controlling power, to say that I'm ready to let people vote for the MCs.
Well, the former president and candidate of the NDC the last time also said that
that's
if he was re-elected in this next step.
Yeah, I mean, I will not take that from. But what I'm saying is that to have President Akufo-Addo saying that I am committed to MMDCs being voted for, it is a big plus. We have leaders.
Speak to my colleague Albert Sori in the Upper East region, because a joint police and military team has been deployed to the area after violence erupted there over the president's nomination of Madame Victoria Ayamba as the district chief executive of the area. Hello, Albert. What can you report? What's the situation in Zebulon now?
Dennis, things have returned to normal at Zebulon this morning. People are going about their normal daily activities without any problems. But what we know also is that the police have a joint operation with the military to try and keep the peace in the area. So at the moment, there are patrols in Zebulon now that are making sure that what happened on Tuesday night doesn't happen again. We've spoken to the police commander for the area, and what he has told us is that the patrols are going to be there for as long as it takes, until they are sure that nothing of the sort will happen again. So the nominations have been done. What is left with is the confirmation and, things that could happen afterwards. So they are going to make sure that these patrols that they have currently continue to stay even after the DC has been confirmed or otherwise. And so they will only remove the patrols when they are sure that things have returned to normal.
All right, Albert, how long is this team hoping to stay in the area?
That's why I'm explaining that they are saying that they will continue to be there until even after the nomination. But what will determine whether they stop the patrols or not will depend on whether there are any agitations or not after the confirmation of the DCE has been done. So the patrols will be there for as long as it takes, from what the police are telling us.
All right, thank you very much for those updates. My colleague Albert Sori coming to us from the Upper East region. You're watching Joy News today with me, Bernice Abubedi. We'll take a quick break. When I come back, I'll be telling you about the president, because he'll be cutting sword later today for the construction of the largest LPG power plant in the world. right here in Ghana. Please stay with us.